Yes, we are all addicted to dopamine, and we're going to talk about that today, some basics and all, along with healthy alternatives to have your best successful life, because I do want that for you. So we're going to jump into that. But first, I'm Nurse Ann. I'm a nurse on the front lines of mental health and emergency for many years and still going, and we'll talk about that later in this podcast. But right now, let's jump into some of this information to help you overcome and thrive. Make sure you're following, like it, and all that good stuff. So, healthy alternatives to dopamine and addiction cycles in our life. And dopamine relates to the reward center in the brain as it is released in response to pleasurable experiences. And yes, we all like those. And it's also part of the brain linked to memory and motivation. It's not always released from a harmful substance or activity. And also it plays a role in developing tolerance to the activities that we choose over and over. And this tolerance, as you've probably experienced, when you develop a tolerance to something, it can decrease the pleasurable feeling from the activity, but we're still going to have that craving for more and more, creating that cycle, that treadmill of just chasing after it repeatedly. So the culprits, as I said, are not just from harmful substances. Some of the things that reward our dopamine addiction cycle, that release that causes us want to go back and back and back. Some things are, could be shopping. There's gambling, situationships, lots and lots of screen time. Social media gives you that instant gratification that keeps you having that release of dopamine and coming back for more because it's instant and there's nothing really stopping you. As they said, as far as if it was a substance, is drugs and things of that nature. Sometimes you run out of money and that will stop the cycle for a while. But with social media and screen time and things of that nature, there's usually nothing stopping you from getting those instant rewards, releasing that dopamine. What else? Different things like that. And there's actually a long list of different things that release dopamine, and some of them that can be addictions and habits and cycles that stop us from our highest growth and our healthiest life. So leave in the comments some other things that you can think of for that. And to help strengthen our self-control, our resilience, our life resilience, our emotional resilience, and to bolster our impulse control and emotional control, it's helpful to take a dopamine fast, a break, whether it's a day, a week, maybe you can even do a month. And that doesn't always stop you from wanting that activity or substance or whatever it is, but taking that break can give you that time to reset and think about life, think about your priorities, and maybe make it easier the next time where you don't go full on or you go in moderation, or maybe you are able to give up something that's not working out for you and others. So what are some healthier alternatives to dopamine addictions and just cycles that we find ourselves caught up in? So some healthier alternatives, of course, a healthy diet. And there was some literature that also said increasing your protein helped, decreasing saturated fat, even sometimes decreasing carbs. So definitely a healthier diet, fresher foods, lots of water. That's going to help you get that natural dopamine in a healthier fashion that won't lead to results that you're not happy with. Also, of course, exercise and laughter. Both of those release those natural endorphins that make you feel good in a healthy, natural way. There's also calming music. We can be bombarded with noise all throughout our day from many different avenues, but sometimes just listening to relaxing and calming or background music can help. Of course, the big one is meditation. Try to incorporate that into your day, your week, your life. Noticing your breath, taking time out in prayer, quiet time with God, just reflections of your life. Just breathe, notice your breath. Also, nature is good for this. You can even meditate while you're in nature, just noticing the beauty and the stillness and the calmness that's around you. Just focusing on that, focusing on your breath. Meditation, reflection, spending time with God is so important and will release that natural, healthy dopamine to help you break out of unhealthy cycles. So nature, along with that sunlight, that can help you get your dose every day of natural things that we need. Getting enough sleep, that is so important. I know we're a sleep deprived culture, but it's so important to find a way to incorporate getting enough sleep every night into your life. And I know it's not always easy, but it makes a huge difference in your brain, your emotional regulation, your release of healthy dopamine, functioning better, having better moods, and just getting along with others better. So one that I wasn't finding today, but that I thought of because this is huge, is working on a greater vision, your life vision, mission, and purpose. And usually that involves hopefully helping others in some way, but whatever it is you're working on, just delve more into that, pour into your creative activities, your creative endeavors. Even if you work full time, I'm a busy nurse. I work a lot. I'm on the front lines of mental health and emergency, along with other ministry endeavors and other life responsibilities. So you can chip away at your life vision, mission, purpose. Even if it's not what you're currently doing, you can work on that, work on your creative endeavors. And that's going to give you such a feeling of satisfaction. I said in the last podcast where we talked about emotional resilience and emotional intelligence, even in the book by Robert Greene, Mastery, where he discussed that when you work on mastering something in your life purpose, and just get to that point, instead of feeling that quick dopamine rush from quick fixes, whether it be substances or things that aren't as healthy for us, when we get to that level where we are working on our life vision, mission, and purpose, and even get to a point of mastery, or just doing it, it's going to give us a healthier, long-lasting release of that dopamine and just a feeling of satisfaction and contentment that can spill onto other areas of your life. So that being said, we will get into the fictional drama, which is the Mental Files First 6 Stories edition by Nurse Ann, your favorite nurse, new indie author. But first, I'm going to give you some more insights from my published devotional into healthier dopamine to help you break out of negative habits, addictions, cycles in your life so you can be successful and content. And this one is from my devotional, Energize Health, Body, Mind, and Spirit, because our body, mind, and spirit definitely work together in synergy. So the one that I picked today is, we're going to talk about a couple things. We talked about exercise, so stretching and exercise, because one of the worst habits you can have is sitting or laying around all day. They say it's worse than smoking. And this lethargy does promote ill and declining health for your brain function and your body function. Make sure you're taking a walk, moving, stretching, exercise, you know the drill. And we talked earlier about forest bathing, just getting out in nature. If you can get in a forest or just around nature, take that quiet time, those breaths, notice what's around you, immerse yourself in trees, nature, whatever you can get to, and that's going to help a lot. God's creation is an awesome wonder. And then another one is family, fun, and restful times. That does release healthy dopamine and other good chemicals that help us stay on track. So I got some of this from a favorite and helpful book I enjoyed and learned is called Present Over Perfect, Leaving Behind Frantic for a Simpler, More Soulful Way of Living by Shauna Niequist. Because you know, life bombards us, comes at us so fast. We do feel like we're on that treadmill, constantly going. And this was a great book, Present Over Perfect, Leaving Behind Frantic for a Simpler, More Soulful Way of Living by Shauna Niequist. In the book, she encourages us to slow down this frantic frenzy of our life. Bring back peace in times of refreshing with our loved ones. Sometimes that will mean saying no to certain opportunities in order to work on our highest opportunities, time with God and loved ones. And there was another book that also helped me on this subject to take an inventory. It's called An Unhurried Life, Following Jesus' Rhythms of Work and Rest by Alan Fadling. And he reminded us to unhurry and find the balance for our life. Following the patterns of Jesus can unlock a better way. And I also learned something very valuable because I'm a super efficient, trying to get things done person. But I learned in the book that being an efficient person, sometimes we can become unlovingly efficient as we hurry through our tasks at the expense of not noticing and making time for others. And sometimes our busyness is like the story of Mary and Martha. Yes, things need to get done, but we must be careful to balance our activity with important relationships. And I always like to remind that as we go to notice others around us and to slow down and take that time, even if it's just eye contact and a quick moment to listen or whatever you can do. Playtime and laughter with loved ones is a beneficial prescription for our health. Proverbs 17:22 reminds us that a happy, merry heart does good like medicine. So as we look for that balance between our to-do list and rest and relaxation and everything we have to do, let's remember some good heavenly advice. Also, Proverbs 23:4 says, stop laboring to be rich. Cease from your own wisdom, because you might set your eyes on those things that make you rich, but it says that they make themselves wings and fly away like eagles and birds anyway. So we can strive and strive and strive, and it's good to have work integrity, but remember to have that downtime. So that's Energize Health, Body, Mind, and Spirit by Nurse Ann. Make sure you're following this channel, this page. Like, subscribe it. Leave a comment today of ways that you take downtime, things that have you caught up on that treadmill, and we're going to discuss that, and I will definitely answer you. And the next one is from my Mental Healing Poetry Devotional. We discuss life challenges along with God-ordained courage and healing to help us turn away from mindsets controlled by fear. There's inspiration to step into your true destiny of a faith walk and purpose-driven path. Remember, following your life passion, purpose is going to help you overcome negative habits and cycles. So today I picked choices. Just thinking about when we take that downtime, thinking about the trajectory of our life as it is now. What are some choices that we want to make to have a more profitable and healthy life? So choices. Do you want to be blessed or choose to stay stressed? Do you want to keep the truth real or choose to act on how you feel? And that reminds us of those habits and addictions, those dopamine cycles. It's giving us that quick pleasure and making us always want to act on how we feel in the moment. But that doesn't always bring lasting happiness and contentment. So do you want to be blessed or choose to stay stressed? Do you want to keep the truth real or choose to act on how you feel? It's not that hard to find. God's word reveals his infinite mind. So what are you waiting for? Leave the old behind and walk through your new door. So I'm going to let you hear the rest of that from my Mental Healing Poetry Devotional. Link at nurseann.com. That's Ann with an E, and then it's in the description. What I chose for my next devotional, Word Puzzles Devotional, is repletion. And this is an A to Z devotional. This is from the letter R. What does repletion mean? It means the condition of being full. Being satisfied and content can seem like an elusive chase. The cycle to stalk more and more can be frustrating. What is the genuine desire placed in our hearts? God says to know and to seek after him. For true contentment and satisfaction, run after the heart of God. Yes, run after him, that quiet time, getting to know him more. And that can help break you out of unhealthy, quick pleasures, me first, dopamine hits that usually lead us down a path that's not the best. So Jeremiah 29:13 reminds us, and when you seek me and find me, you will search for me, find me with all your heart. So let's take a break from the endless search for what does not satisfied in our life. God can give you that. And that's from my Word Puzzles devotional, which is interesting and unique words linked to everyday life and our inner thought struggles, along with relevant biblical prescriptions to get your dose of wisdom and inspiration. I want you once again to overcome and thrive so there's hope and new light for your life journey, medicine for your soul. We all need that soul medicine. That's going to help us overcome that quick, pleasure-oriented dopamine lifestyle, and we'll find more true contentment and lasting pleasures. And another one from my Inspiration Battles devotional helps us with that soul searching. It's biblical medicine for real life, because the battle to stay inspired can be overwhelming at times. And this one I chose, it's also an A to Z devotional. I chose N, and the word is newness. What comes to your mind when you hear out with the old, in with the new? And yes, the new year is coming up. So we're going to hear that, out with the old, in with the new. Do you start to mentally make a list of ideas, habits, and maybe even people you need to leave behind? Who and what will replace the discarded items on your list? Indeed, it is wise to contemplate regular spiritual and life inventories and develop a plan of renewal and action. At the same time, there is immense value in cherishing the healthy relationships in our lives, in nurturing our families and friends with the sunshine of caring and attention. Yes, more family fun time, investing in your families and loved ones definitely brings positive and healthy dopamine. So at the same time, there's and sowing into the lives of our hurting and struggling loved ones can reap a harvest of change and blessings for everyone involved. As you develop your resolutions for better actions and outcomes, you can't go wrong with investigating life principles advocated for. There's Proverbs, there's just a lot of good biblical prescriptions that you can find. And we're prompted to examine our motives and deeds and aim for time-tested and God-given directions that are heavenly designed to propel us to victory in every area imaginable. And there's more. I'm going to let you read that at Inspiration Battles devotional by Nurse Ann, favorite nurse, new indie author. Follow, like, share. One more devotional, then we'll jump into the icing on the cake, the fictional drama that has action, adventure, advocacy, and awareness, along with danger, suspense, romance, faith, and inspiration. So the last devotional, I just released this recently. It's Ignite Life Poetry Devotional, because I want you to have an ignited life. And what did I choose today? I chose Hide or Confide. Because the reason I chose this is because when we're caught up in unhealthy habits and addictions, for whatever reason, trauma, abuse, just negative lifestyles, getting caught up with the crowd and then finding yourself down the wrong road, it can cause just to have different feelings that don't help us get onto a better road. So Hide or Confide by Nurse Ann. Maybe this is you. Maybe this is something you can share with someone else. Why all the sadness? What's causing your tears? Does your life seem like madness, filled with pain, sorrow, a host of all fears? Would you allow me to peer on the inside, share just a fraction of your heart? Or will your doubt cause you to run, cower, wanting to hide? Please take a small chance to show me the hurt. Perhaps with some caring, I'll help you to dance. And this is also a devotional that reminds us, when noticing someone that's quiet, seemingly enveloped in pain. As a nurse, I see this all the time, and I'm sure in whatever career, community, family activity, you do notice people in pain. So when notice someone that's quiet, seemingly enveloped in pain, sometimes we can be unsure of how to reach out. Therefore, we may also keep quiet for fear of saying the wrong thing. Does that ever happen to you? But conversely, when we do take that chance and dare to discover what is burdening their soul, most of the time we encounter some sense of relief in the other person, because we would choose to care enough to ask anyway. Have you noticed that people experiencing grief, tragedy, or generalized sadness are actually all right with sharing their story to someone who will take the time to listen? That's from my Nightlife Poetry Devotional. And I know your time is valuable, so we're going to jump into the published fictional drama. It's a 6-part fictional drama series. I know you've heard it before, that I created in my free time as a busy nurse on the front lines of emergency and mental health. It highlights the struggles that we go through, that others go through in mental health emergency, the system, the street, the community, the church, families, everywhere. And so we're on the second book. To make it cheaper and easier, I put it in one book. It's the Mental Files First 6 Stories edition by Nurse Ann. You get to ride along with the frontline workers as they rescue those in crisis of mental, physical, and spiritual. These shifts are 24/7. You will need to buckle up because this compelling ride is filled with danger, action, lots of action, because with your help, it's going to be a television drama one day. Suspense, romance, faith, and inspiration. And also, because I know we always don't have time to read, it was made into an audiobook. This is what it looks like on Audible and iTunes. The Mental Files First 6 Stories edition by Nurse Ann, narrated by Drama Simpson, who brought it to life with siren noises, action, and so much more. So let's jump into the chapter, and then I'm going to let you go until the next exciting podcast. We're in book 2, The Mental Files, Dr. John Doe. So the last one was Heart to Heart, if you missed that. And this one is chapter 19, Big Decisions. What big decisions do you need to make? What decisions can you make to help you break out of that dopamine cycle where you're just always chasing after quick pleasures that might not always be beneficial for you? Think about those healthy habits that we talked about. After Mars helped his mom get settled on the couch, he made her a bowl of soup. Bringing her a blanket to keep warm, he decided it might be all right to bring up the subject about moving to a safer neighborhood. Even though the perpetrator had been arrested, Mars knew the influences in the area could still pose a threat to everything he wanted to achieve. Not to mention the safety of his mom. As he started to present his case, he was pleasantly interrupted by his mom's own piece of news. Do you want to know what that news is? Hang on, and I'm going to tell you. Getting a little warm in here. So, what was the piece of news? Mars, I guess we've been contemplating the same thing. I actually had a long talk with Kylina about a nice place to rent across the street from where she lives, interjected Jenna. As hope filled the atmosphere, the two talked for hours about the plans and decision Mars had been thinking about. After my ride-along and time in the ER, I've made a decision on my career choice. And I've already looked up the information for the school online. I think I qualified for a full ride grant, declared Jenna's only child. What? Tell me, son, begged his excited mother. You'll never guess, replied Mars as he kept her in suspense. All right, enough of the delay. What is it? Giggled Jenna. Okay, here it is, Mom. I'm going to be a paramedic, revealed Mars. And you'll have to find out more about this on the next chapter 20 on the next podcast, along with more helpful, valuable information for you. So I'll see you at nurseann.com, link below. That's Ann with an E. And you can get a link to the podcast at Patreon on the podcast tab. Also, you can follow them from the beginning, go from the beginning or skip around, whatever you want to do. But there's so much inspirational wellness at that website to help you live successful, great lives. See you on the next podcast. I can't wait.